Hi BookTube! My name is Sarah and welcome to the Bookish Knitter. Today I am coming to you with the start of another weekly reading vlog. Today is, so this is for week 3, January the 15th through the 21st. Today is actually the 16th. It's Monday. I did not record anything yesterday. It was an extremely lazy day. I spent the entire day pretty much watching Kara and Nate videos. They're on YouTube. They're travel vloggers, and I was watching them like a lot in this, I think a lot over the course of the summer, and then I stopped watching them to watch other things, and now I've kind of like, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to catch up again. I forgot completely where I was. I can't, it's so funny, like, they've been traveling for like 7 years, so they've been putting videos out on YouTube since 2016, and I think about it like seasons. Like 2016 was season 1, and 2017 is season 2. Like, I can't remember if I was in season 2 or season 3. So like, it's a television show. But I mean, it feels that way. It's like they did daily vlogs for a long time, and now they're more onto like these weekly, like longer form videos, which are fine. But I do kind of miss the little daily vlogs. They're really fun. And they're relatively short, which is kind of great, which is why you end up binge watching so many of them, because it's like, oh, they're only 10 minutes long. Oh, I'll watch another one. Oh, I'll watch another one. And then the next thing you know, it's time for dinner and you haven't recorded the introduction to your own vlog. So that's what happened yesterday. I did get some reading done as well yesterday, and I was cross-stitching while I was watching YouTube. But I, of course, wanted to start the vlog. It's Monday morning. Happy Monday, everybody. The 16th of January. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. I need to get this recorded so I can head downstairs, have my breakfast, make my lunch for work today, and head off to the office. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. So, I do have a book review for you guys first thing this morning, which is very exciting. A great way to start the vlog. So, just as a side note, in case you're new here, in the description box below, I will leave timestamps for all of the books that I review. So, if you're only here to hear about the books that I read, you don't care about the everyday stuff, which is perfectly fine. That's why I put those down there. Please feel free to utilize them and jump ahead to any of the books that you want to hear me talk about. So the first book that I finished was actually on Saturday night, and I finished reading Falling for His Fake Girlfriend by Shannon and Stacey. I gave this book 5 stars, you guys. I love this. My first 5-star read of the year. This book was fantastic. So it is the 4th book in the Sutton's Place series. Now, I have not read any of the previous 3 books. I thought I had, but I was thinking about another series that Shannon and Stacey has written. A series 4 special edition that she's written, where it's a trilogy, and I've read the first 2 but not the 3rd. I should really get on that. Anyway, so this is the story of Molly and Callum. So this takes place in a very small town. Now, you don't have to have read the first 3 books, and I always say that because these are like companion books. You do meet all those characters, and the way the friend group, family group kind of goes together can be a little confusing. But my personal opinion is, I think it would be just as confusing if you'd read the books in order. I feel like the beginning of each of these books, kind of, you need like a diagram to like who knows who and who's married to who and who's, you know what I mean? It just makes sense. But anyway, I mean, you're meeting all these characters. You know that the girls are all friends with Molly, our female lead. That's really all you need to know. You don't need to know the dynamics of who knows who and blah, blah, blah. You know who's married to who, and that's pretty much it. But again, like I say about contemporary romance series, you know that the characters are going to end up together. This is not a surprise. So you're really not being ruined for anything earlier in the series. But I loved this freaking book. So they both live in this small town. Callum is very new to town. He just took a job as the new librarian in town. And it's a very small town in New Hampshire. And Molly has lived there her whole life. Her parents actually own and run the funeral home. And she actually works in the funeral home as well, which I found very interesting. Now, she has nothing to do with the deceased. She actually does more of the administrative work during viewings and funerals. She's there to help people, comfort, you know, as best as she can, things like that. So she's much more administrative. But she also, because it's not a very big town, there's not a lot of funerals. So she actually also works on the side at her friend's like bar. So Callum, like I said, is the new librarian. He's just moved to town. He just took the job. He actually bought the house next door to the funeral home where Molly lives. Now, Molly lives at home still in a way. She lives above the garage in a separate apartment. So she does kind of have her own space, but her parents are still her landlords and her employers. So anyway, Molly has ADHD, so she is neurodivergent, and I really, really liked the way that she was represented in this book and how that was represented in this book. How, now she wasn't diagnosed until she was much older, like she was, I think, in her late teens, early 20s, before she was diagnosed. And her mother, not so much her dad, but her mother really irked me throughout this book. Like it's something that Molly was doing on purpose. That's how I read it. Like she was being weird, to use her mother's terminology, and that, you know, she runs boyfriends away because she just becomes too much for them and stuff like that, like trying to deal with her quirks and the way her brain works and things like that, right? So you know, that's kind of like her and her mother care about each other. It's not anything like that, but just her mother just really annoyed me at certain parts. But anyway, so Callum has moved to town. He's the new librarian, as I've mentioned, and there's an issue because the old librarian, who's this old curmudgeon lady, is like, you know, she's staying on for the first week that Callum's working there to kind of get him into the groove. And she's telling patrons pretty much like, oh, it'll be fine because he's a single guy. Don't worry, he's not going to hit on your wife. Don't worry, your kids are going to be fine here. Now, of course, all these people in this small town, because that's the way small towns work, are like, uh-oh, do we have to worry about this guy because he's single? You know, and then people are starting to say, well, should I let my wife come in? Is he going to hit on her? Or, you know, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, so he's really like, after his first week, he's pretty much had enough, and he doesn't know, you know, is he going to be kicked out of this job? He just bought a house. He's restoring this house and blah, blah, blah. He really wants to settle down in this small town. So him and Molly meet up one night, and, you know, they met before, and they end up going to the bar that Molly works at occasionally. And Molly actually hatches this plan for them to fake date. So it looks like, and until the townsfolk start to know him, and, he, gets accepted by the town, kind of an idea, and then they'll have a breakup. But of course, as the way these things go in these books, they end up falling for each other. It was super adorable and super cute. What really sold me on this, and I was so worried throughout the entire book, because there is one big thing that was kind of like the thing that once they got talking about like being kind of in a real relationship and the things that they wanted out of life, the one thing is that Molly didn't really want to have children because she was afraid there was a 50% chance that her kids would have the ADHD. And she knew how much she struggled, and she didn't want that for her own children. And Callum, this is what he wanted. He wanted a family. He wanted a small, you know, a family in this small town and blah, blah, blah. So that was kind of there. And I was really worried. I thought, please don't have it go a certain way that is going to make me mad, to be completely honest. Because as someone who also is not having children for medical reasons, I mean, you know, I know my situation and Molly's situation are completely different things, but I do kind of empathize where she's coming from, that you're afraid to pass these things on to your children. I didn't want it to go a certain way, and I think a lot of you understand that way that I'm trying to explain without saying it, right? But the way that this book, the way that they work together and the way that this worked out, I loved it. There was a line he said to her in this book that just made my heart so happy at the very end, and I absolutely loved it. And, you know, it was great, guys. It was 5 freaking stars. I know I've kind of talked a lot about it, the backstory. I mean, you know, it's the backstory that sold me on these two characters. The story itself, this whole fake dating relationship thing, it's a major trope in romance novels. You see it all the time. But this was done so well. I loved it. Shannon Stacey is a favorite author of mine. Do check this book out if you get a chance. So I rambled on about that book for like 10 minutes. So what am I currently reading? I am currently reading Princess and the Player by Ilsa Madden-Mills. I'm about 30% of the way through this one. This is available on Kindle Unlimited, so because it was on KU, I was able to pick up the audiobook for like $1.99. So I got the audiobook, and I think I'm going to try and listen to it on my way to and from work today to get some reading done, because the days I have to go into the office, of course, are days that I get less reading done. So that's what I might just go ahead and do. And also tonight I'm going to be doing some reading sprints, and I would like to do some cross stitch tonight. So I think I might do the same thing. Pop my earbuds in, listen to the book, and go from there. So I hope to get this one done in the next day or two, because of course I do have a lot on my, no, I don't have a ton of books on my plate this week, but no, I have some books I'm really excited about getting to. And this one is quite good. So this is a sports romance. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. This is a sports romance, and he is a NFL linebacker, quarterback, or something like that. And they meet at a wait for it kids, a sex club. And no names are exchanged, nothing at all like that. They end up spending the night together, and then she, of course, ends up pregnant. And that's where I am in the story at this point. So yeah, it takes place in Manhattan. The last book took place in Texas, but they've mentioned the character, the main character, the male lead, because him and Tuck, the male lead in this book, were best friends. And like, I think Rowan was the guy from the first book. He was the quarterback and he's a line, so they work together. I don't know how football works. I'm sorry, I don't. But they were like on the field. They worked well together, and he hasn't been playing the same since Rowan left, and because of an injury. He left because of an injury. Now, both Tuck and Francesca, who's our female lead, both have very dark backstories. And I remember this from the first book as well, that Ilsa Madden-Mills does not shy away from more difficult topics. And there were some difficult topics discussed in the first book as well. So you can't see the cover of this one. Like, you can see the cover, but you can't see this is a bright yellow cover, you guys. Like, it is so cheerful and so bright and so pretty with like these blues and yellows and stuff. You'll see the full cover when I do the full review for it. But yes, well, it is a fun and cheerful book, and there's been some moments that had me laughing, like Francesca's friends are hysterical. But there is some dark stuff also happening that happened to these characters in their past that is going to kind of like be revealed as the story goes on. So it's not, as it looks, being a completely light and fluffy story. And I really like that. I like that balance, and I think it works well. So, which is probably why I like the first book in the series so much. So I thought I would show you guys my cross stitch, because I'm going to be working on this throughout the week. And I think what I've decided to do is to work on one piece Monday to Friday, like if I'm working, like last Friday was, anyway, I'm not getting into that. Work on one piece Monday to Friday, because I do have to work, so I don't have nearly as much stitching time. And then picking up a separate piece on the weekends. So for this work week, I'm just putting a piece of paper behind this so you guys can see it a little bit better. But I am working on Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and this is from Autumn Lane Stitchery. So I've been working on Santa's beard, Santa's epic beard. So yeah, this pretty much is what I got done yesterday, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot. The one thing about Autumn Lane Stitchery's patterns is the amount of shading. Like, if you can tell, there's like 3 different colors in there to shade it. And like the shading up in here, and same with his beard. Like, it's not just a white beard, like it is shaded. And it really, really looks spectacular. So I'm really enjoying this piece. I was saying to my friend Rainey over at Rainy Day Read yesterday, we were talking on Voxer, and I'm like, I would like to get this done by this Christmas. So we shall see. I still have quite a bit to go. I have to finish Santa Claus. There's like a town down here, and he's holding like a scroll with all the kids' names on it. So yeah, but I am loving this one so far. So anyway, that is that. Welcome to the vlog, and I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Hi, friends. Happy Wednesday. Today is the 18th of January, and it's just after 9 o'clock in the morning. I am sitting in my room because I am exporting a video that's going to go up on Thursday, so you guys will have already seen it. And again, apologies for not updating yesterday, because I actually filmed 3 videos yesterday morning. I filmed the one that went up on Tuesday, the one that is going up on Thursday, like for me, and then on Friday. So videos that you guys will have already seen, but that I filmed all 3 of them yesterday morning. So I had finished filming them. I had put away the camera, or my phone, put away my tripod and all that stuff, and then went, oh my gosh, I forgot to film my update from yesterday. So not a big deal, because I didn't finish anything. Like, I was still reading the same book that I had been reading for the past couple of days, but I've now finished that book. So I wanted to pop in here and update you guys while I'm waiting for this video to export. So yesterday I finished reading Princess and the Player by Ilsa Madden-Mills, which is the second book in the Strangers in Love series, I think it's called. And the first book I really, really liked. I was super stoked about this one. This one I did not love nearly as much. This was a 3.5-star rating for me. The writing was still great. The characters were still great. This took place in Manhattan. It is partially takes place over Christmas. Like, you get mentions of the holidays in Manhattan, but it's not like it's a Christmas story in any way, shape, or form. It actually takes place over about a 6 or 8 month period. So, plot of the story is that Tuck, who is our NFL linebacker, and he was friends with Rowan, who was the male lead from the first book, which is how they're tied together. He goes out for his birthday. His teammates take him out for a couple teammates take him out for his birthday to this, essentially a sex club. And he meets a woman there, and they have a no strings, one night fling. They don't even tell each other their names. They're wearing masks because that's what you're doing at this club. So they didn't even really see what the other person looks like. And lo and behold, of course, what happens? She gets pregnant. 2 different forms of birth control, and she still gets pregnant because of course she does. So anyway, she finds out about a month or month and a half later, has no idea who he is. She's, kind of at a crossroads in her life. She split up with her ex, and she just got let go from her job. And, she kind of doesn't know what to do. And then she finally meets Tuck again, and her name is Francesca. And they realize who each other is. She knows she's pregnant, but she doesn't tell him. So my one big issue with this book is that she let it go like a long time before she finally told him. And I'm like, there is a point you're going to hit where you can't hide this anymore. Do you know what I mean? And her friends were even telling her that. And I found that to be a little bit ridiculous. Like, she was all worried about how he was going to react. To me, the longer you wait, the worse it's going to be. You know what I mean? If you're honest up and at the beginning, then this is the situation. But she didn't want anything from him. She just thought he had the right to know, kind of an idea. So Tuck has his own backstory with, like, his parents, and a lot of stuff happened then. And, the characters, again, I like them. I like their backstories. I liked both of them. I liked the setting. My main big issue was the whole secret, or the whole accidental pregnancy secret, keeping it a secret scenario. The other thing was, now, this book seemed a lot more adult than the first book, but maybe it was the way it was written that I noticed it more in this book, if that makes sense. And I think it's because of the language that was used. It was crass and it was vulgar. Now, I have no issue with swearing. I could probably go toe-to-toe with a sailor. I work in customer service, and I used to do jobs where I worked with contractors. So swearing is not, it's very much in my vocabulary. However, when you're talking about certain things and you're using certain language, it just doesn't seem, you lose the romance. I think that's what I'm trying to get across, is that, at the very beginning, there was a certain word used, and I think a lot of you who have read these kind of books probably know what I'm talking about. When you're using that word, it's like, okay, I get it. Like, maybe you're strangers, you don't know each other, okay, fine. But once they entered a relationship with each other, they continued to use that word for what they were doing, and I just didn't like it. It didn't sit well with me. It just didn't feel like, and not that they were trying to be romantic with each other, but that's not, in my opinion, necessarily the word you use when you're in kind of a relationship. Does that make sense? Anyway, some of you might know what I'm talking about. Some of you, this might be, if you don't read these kind of things, you might not understand. I don't want to say too much because I'm trying to keep this as a family channel. I might swear, but I do try and tone it down a great deal here. Not a great deal, not like I'm holding back, but there's a time and a place. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, needless to say, 3.5 stars. Did not love it. The first book was a lot better, in my opinion. But if there's a third book, I will probably read it. Again, it wasn't a problem with the writing or the characters. It was just certain aspects of the book that I did not love. So what am I currently reading? Last night, I did start reading Promises, Sweet Valley High book number 15. I am already about 30% of the way through this. I read it for about 20 minutes last night. I should be able to finish this. No problem tonight. That's kind of my goal. That is what I'm currently reading, and that's pretty much it, you guys. So I will check in with you guys tomorrow, probably with my review of the Sweet Valley High book, and I'll check in with you guys then. Bye, guys.
Hi, friends. It's Thursday night. I know I haven't done an update in a couple days, but I will update you tomorrow, I promise. But I thought I'd show you the bean. I'm trying to get some stuff done on my... Actually, I'm in a live show right now, but I am trying to update my spreadsheet because, very quick peek, I got some books today from Harlequin. And, yeah, it's very difficult when you're trying to use your mouse pad and the cat's laying on it. But, he's cute, so I'll let him have it. Say hello, Mr. Bean. Hello.
Hi, friends. Happy Friday. Sorry for the weird, I got Bean sitting beside me, and Presley is actually just at the end of the bed. So anyway, it's Friday night. It is about 7:30, and we have ordered dinner. We're waiting for it to show up. Quesadillas and wings tonight, in case anyone is curious.
But I haven't updated you guys in days, so my apologies. Thursdays and Fridays, I love it because, I mean, yes, I have to go into the office all day, but I do 9 to 5, which is fantastic. But because I do 9 to 5, I do not have time in the mornings to sit down and update you guys. So the last time I updated you, I had finished reading Princess and the Player, I think. Princess and the Player was the last book that I finished? Yes. But then now, or so actually yesterday or the day before, I finished reading, oh, sorry, excuse me, as I reach for something to show you guys. I finished reading Promises by Francine Pascal, well, Sweet Valley High book number 15. Review of this one very quickly. I'm giving this one 3 stars. I did not particularly love this one. Most of these are getting 3 stars from me, and you might be wondering why I'm continuing to read them. Mainly because I'm not paying for them. They are on Kindle Unlimited, so it's not like it's costing me any money. And it is a throwback for me, it's kind of fun. These books are short, they're very easy to get through, and it's kind of nice to have a very quick read to read during, the week. So anyway, in this one, Stephen's girlfriend, Teresa, dies. Now, in previous books, you were aware that she had leukemia. So in this one, she dies at the very beginning, and it's just a whole dramatic, very soap opera-esque scene. And then her sister, who happens to be kind of a wild child, she drinks, she does drugs, or she's been known to. She's promiscuous, blah, blah, blah. She's only 16, same age as the twins. And their father, or her father, is a drunk, and he's not part of the family. Like, he's kind of taken off. So anyway, Betsy is the sister's name. She is coming to stay with the Wakefields for a few weeks until, things kind of calm down for her. And Jessica doesn't want her there because she's bad news and she thinks she's going to bring the family down. And of course, it's all about Jessica. So this one bothered me only because, she wasn't a major character, but she was in most of the books. She was Stephen's girlfriend for, the last 5 or 6 books. And the fact that she died seemed to really play second fiddle to the story. And, I understand that you might have had a problem, like Jessica may have had a problem with Betsy, but her sister died. Cut the girl some slack. So anyway, did not love it. So what am I currently reading? I'm currently reading A Death of a Red Hot Rancher by Mimi Granger. Now, I do have the physical edition downstairs. I borrowed it from the library. But the Toronto Library, I was able to get it on ebook. So I've got it on ebook as well. And I was reading this at work today. It just makes life a little easier when you're trying to sneak in a couple pages. So I am enjoying this so far. I'm about 30% of the way through it. So I did not get a ton of reading done on it yesterday or today. So tomorrow is Saturday. And normally what happens on Saturday is that whatever I finish, I don't read any more from that week's TBR. So the other 2 Harlequin books that I had? There was an Intrigue and then the Love Inspired. Neither of them I'm probably going to get to this week. So they're going to go on the list that I talked about before, the list of books that I didn't get to. And eventually at some point in the year, somebody made a comment in a video that I'm going to do a whole readathon for just the books I didn't get to. I think that's kind of a brilliant idea. I should make up a weekly TBR just from the books I didn't get to. That's what I should do midway through the year. But anyway, that's fine. So this is just a quick update, guys. Waiting on my dinner, but I will definitely check in with you tomorrow. Talk to you then. Bye, everybody.
Hi, friends. Happy Saturday. Today is the 21st of January, and it is just before lunch. Garrett and I went out and did a whole bunch of running around this morning, and now we're home and we can sit and relax. He's got a hockey game starting in about a half an hour. I've got some reading sprints at about 4 o'clock this afternoon, and yeah, super, super excited. Nice, relaxing Saturday, but I thought I would pop on here and end off the vlog because I really don't have much else to share with you for this week. So I am still reading Death of a Red Hot Rancher. I mentioned this in my last clip. I'm now about halfway through it. I didn't get a ton of reading done yesterday, less than 30 pages. But my goal is today and tomorrow is to try and get this done. So we shall see if I can do that. I think I can. I'm surprisingly I do read print books a bit slower than I read ebooks, but I am feeling like I'm moving through this one relatively quickly, mainly because I'm really, really enjoying it. So yeah. So Garrett and I, like I said, had to go do some running around this morning, and we stopped at Value Village. So if you can see that on the side here of the giant bag I have. Don't get overly excited. The bag is just big. There's not a ton of stuff in here. We did stop and I got some books. And guys, I hit the jackpot because somebody must have brought in, must have been purging their shelves because a lot of these are newer releases. So these are not, not 2 of the 8 are Harlequins. So let me just get them out of the bag, and then I can show them all to you. So hold please. Okay, so let me show you guys the books I got from the thrift store. I'm very excited. So the first one is a throwback book, and this is a Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys super mystery. Anytime I see these, which is very rare, I immediately pick them up because they're hard to find. So this is Hits and Misses, and I believe this came out in the 90s. Let me double check here. Yes, 1993. So there's the cover of it. So essentially these were like companion novels to the Nancy Drew Case Files and the Hardy Boys Case Files series that started, both of them started in the 80s, I think. I know the Nancy Drew ones were originally started in the 80s. And then they wrote these kind of like joint novels between Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys. It does say it was written by Caroline Keene, so I think that these were more geared towards the Nancy Drew readers as opposed to the Hardy Boys readers. But I mean, I read them and loved them. So it's Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys together doing a mystery, and it's often in like, not exotic locations, but a lot of the books would take place in, for Nancy Drew, in River Heights, right? And I'm not sure where the Hardy Boys are from. But these ones would take them to like the first one I think took place in New York. And this one, where does this one take place? It doesn't say. But usually it's America's top teen detectives team up to reveal a rock and roll ripoff. Yeah. So it says Manhattan, so my guess is another one that takes place in New York. So yeah, anytime I see these, I pick them up. I was super, super happy to come across it. So now let me show you the 2 category romances that I got. So the first one that I picked up was a Harlequin American romance because, as I mentioned in my my book haul video from Thursday, that this was one of my favorite lines that Harlequin ever put out. And anytime I see them, I immediately pick them up because they're not that they're hard to find, but I love them so much. So this is A Fabulous Husband by Diane Castell, and this is part of the 40 and Fabulous series. So Harlequin, or not Harlequin, but, Harlequin, but the American Romance line did this mini-series called 40 and Fabulous, where it was a big to-do, where the main characters were like older and in their 40s. Now that's starting to become the norm, which I'm absolutely loving, but at the time, this came out in October of 2005, so 2005, almost 20 years ago now, it was a big deal. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm really, really happy I got that one. And then this one I got just because I kind of really like the cover of it. I liked these when Special Edition was still published by Silhouette. It was owned by Harlequin. I do like the covers that they did in this point in time. And this is The Other Brother by Janice Rames Hudson. And it is part of the Men of Cherokee Rose series. So this is from June of 2004, or July of 2004. And like I said, it was originally still under the Silhouette banner at the time, special edition. But I love these covers because you would get the couple here, and then you get like this like location scene, and then this other thing down here, and then there was even like something on the back. Like they were just, to me, they were really nicely designed back then, and I like that a lot. So yeah, this was a good period if you know, for the special edition line, and I'm really, really happy to have this one. So now on to the other books, because it looks to me like someone cleared their bookcases and brought in a bunch of stuff. So I'm very excited. So I'll just grab them at random and show you. I've only got 1, 2, 3. I've got 5 of these ones here. So this is A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Mayhem by Amanda Collins. Of all the crime scenes in the world, she walks into his twice. I have no idea what this is about. England, 1865. The funny thing is, okay, so as you guys well know, I got rid of NetGalley, and I had so many books from NetGalley to get to. What I'm finding now that NetGalley is gone is that I'm excited now about going to thrift stores and bookstores, because I'm picking up books that I had on, like, I remember getting an e-art copy of this on NetGalley, and I never got to it, clearly. But now I can pick it up and read it, and, you know, like, that makes me very excited, and, you know, so, yay. But anyway, this one is newspaper columnist Lady Catherine Bascombe finds herself the subject of speculation when her latest article leads to an arrest in the murders plaguing London. The English believe women ought to not write about such vulgar things as crime, and a particularly attractive detective inspector is incensed that she's interfering with his investigation. To escape her sudden notoriety, Catherine heads to the country, only to witness a murder upon her arrival. Maybe she's like the great-great-great-great-grandmother of Jessica Fletcher. Or is that the lady's name from Murder, She Wrote? Or was that the woman who played the character? I don't know. But yeah, I am looking forward to that one. I mean, these are in mint condition. Now, there is a mark on the bottom, so I'm wondering if some of these, the person, I shouldn't assume it's a woman, but the person who got these books maybe got them from Book Outlet or something like that. So yeah, looking forward to that one. And then I grabbed this. This one does not have any markings on it. This is Tides of Honor by Genevieve Graham. Again, I'm pretty sure I got this one from Thrift Books. I got this one from NetGalley as well. But this one really makes me excited because it's a World War I novel. World War I was in 1917 because World War II was in the 40s, the late 30s, early 40s. I'm horrible. I love history, but I don't know dates. I don't know historical dates. The summer of 1916, Private Daniel Baker marches into battle with the boys of Nova Scotia's 25th Battalion. Canadian World War I book. Out of brutal necessity, Danny has steeled himself against the trials and horrors of war, but he is completely unprepared to meet the love of his life in war-torn France. So yeah, it is the First World War. Okay, so it says, heart-rending and enthralling, Tides of Honor is a novel of love and second chances set against Halifax's most devastating moment of the First World War. Is this where the ship blows up? The ship was that during the war? Canadians watching this, I have to look that up. You know what I'm talking about, right? The ship that blew up in the harbor in Halifax. That was a thing. Was that then? But it says he's in France. Okay. I need to read this sooner rather than later. So yeah. But anyway, other Canadians. What was that? That ship that blew up. You know what I'm talking about, right? Here in Canada, they used to do, I don't know if they still do it because we don't have network television anymore, but they used to do like a Canadian history moment, and it would be like during the commercials, and you get like a minute of like some historical thing that happened. And I remember hearing about that. I obviously remember reading about it in school as well, but I remember it more from those like Canadian history moment things. So yeah, interesting. It was Canadian. That's the reason I picked that. I mean, I do love a good historical fiction, but a Canadian historical fiction makes me all kinds of happy. And then some more romance because that's kind of my jam. Funny, I was looking at this book at the library just the other day, and then I found it there. So this is Mahari. Is it Mahari? I think McFarlane. Just Last Night. This is another one that I got from NetGalley originally. Clearly did not get to it. Two best friends, one mischance, a night that changes everything. So yeah, it's got the French flaps and the deckled edges and the $20 price sticker originally from Chapters Indigo. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I think it's going to be good. I don't know much about it, but it's a bright, cheerful cover. Looks like fun. This one looks like it's not even been, it's got some stains on it. I didn't even notice that originally. Hopefully it's just coffee. This is a fairly new novel, but Sand Dollar Lane, a Moonlight Harbor novel by Sheila Roberts. I've read Sheila Roberts before. I quite enjoy her work. So this is one of these oversized mass market paperbacks. The Mass Market Max, I think they're called, that I've commented before that I really like. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. USA Today bestselling author Sheila Roberts will have readers laughing and swooning in turn as two rival business owners compete for the homes and hearts of Moonlight Harbor. Oh, that sounds really, really cute. So yay on that one. And last but not least, the cover of this one got me. I have read Jill Mansell before. I like her books. She is definitely a chick lit author along the same lines as somebody like Sophie Kinsella. Yeah, so this one, is this one a UK? No, it's, it was sold in Canada, but I don't know if this, I think this is probably the North American cover. It says the Sunday Times #1 best-selling author, and the Sunday Times, I think, is London. So, yeah. But we have Maybe This Time by Jill Mansell. So, yeah. Isn't that, like, I love the little car. I think it's so cute. So, put a smile on your face with the glorious new novel from best-selling author Jill Mansell. Mimi isn't looking for love when she spends a weekend in Goosebrook, the Cotswolds village her dad has moved to. And her first encounter with Cal, who lives there too, is nothing like a scene in a romantic movie. although she can't help noticing how charismatic he is. But Cal's in no position to be any more than a friend, and Mimi heads back to her busy London life. When they meet again 4 years later, it's still not to be. Cal is focusing on his family and Mimi on her career. Then Cal drives into a potentially perfect new romance, while Mimi's busy fixing other people's relationships. It seems as if something or someone else always gets in their way. Will it ever be the right time for both of them? It sounds like... What was that book that I read a couple of years ago? Something December? About they saw each other, like she was looking at him out of the bus, and then like every year they met up in December, but they were never, somebody was always with somebody else. And then maybe this December, I can't remember the title of it, by Josie, was it Josie Silver who wrote that one? That's what it sounds like, but more of like a summary book instead of a more winter book. So yeah, as long as cheating is not involved, I'm perfectly happy to read something like that. I don't like cheating in books. I don't like cheating in general, so I definitely do not want it in my books. But anyway, guys, that is my book haul. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this vlog this week. I know, again, I missed some days. It is what it is. There's nothing I can really do about it. I mean, life is life. And, really the days that I missed, I would have just sat down and said, hey, we're eating the same thing as yesterday. So I did stop at McDonald's this morning and I got an iced coffee because I find that if I like to put my own creamer in the coffee, those of you who've been watching me for a while, I pretty much drink coffee just for the creamer. And the creamer, I mean like the International Delights, like the flavored ones, which I love. But I do like McDonald's iced coffee, and I get the caramel or the vanilla. So I got this today because I thought if I got just a regular coffee like double, which for non-Canadians, that means 2 cream and 2 sugar, they always find a way to mess it up. Always. So I'm pretty safe with these. So this is what I got this morning. And it's delicious. So anyway, that's it, guys. I'm going to end the vlog here. Comments, questions, anything at all like that, please post it below. And let me know if you've read any of these books that I just hauled. Again, fellow Canadians, is it the Halifax explosion that I'm thinking? Because that's going to bug me until I can figure it out. I think I'm going to have to get to that one sooner rather than later, just to find out if that's what I'm thinking. Okay, friends, sorry, popping in for just a second here. History nerds like me, in case you're curious, yes, the significant event is the Halifax explosion. Not like I suddenly read the book in the last 2 minutes and absorbed that. I looked on Wikipedia because it was bugging me. So I'm just going to share just a little bit of this with you guys if anyone else is a history nerd like me and wants to know. So, on the morning of the 6th of December, 1917, the French cargo ship SS Mont Blanc collided with a Norwegian vessel, the SS Imo, in the waters of Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. The Mont Blanc, laden with high explosives, caught fire and exploded, devastating the Richmond district of Halifax. 1,782 people were killed, largely in Halifax and Dartmouth, by the blast, debris, fires, or collapsed buildings. And an estimated 9,000 others were injured. The blast was the largest human-made explosion at the time, releasing the equivalent energy of roughly 2.9 kilotons of TNT. So yeah, and they have a picture here of like the cloud. I don't know if you guys can see, sorry, it's really bright. But yeah, like it was, now I'm like, that whole history minute thing, it totally, yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So yeah, so anyone who is interested, that's what it is, the Halifax explosion. Now I'm even more interested in reading this book because I want to see what happens to these characters in this story. And does it start with the explosion? Does it lead up to the explosion? I'm very, very interested. I don't want to flip through the book and find out. So anyway, yay on that one. So there's your history lesson for this vlog as well, my friends. Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. I will talk to you all in my next video. Take care and happy reading, everybody. Bye.